Please don't hurt me. I'm just a little old lady who's lost in the woods.
Hey Wizards! Now here at TLD, I do my very best to show you a whole range of products, from the super high-end expensive stuff all the way down to the low-end budget stuff. And hilariously, I've learned that really pisses off a very specific set of people, and they get insanely angry if I even dare to show them like a PSA rifle. And I think that's some of the stupidest garbage ever, because I'm not gonna gatekeep what you should and shouldn't see. I'm gonna show you everything so that you can make a decision as to what's right for you instead of me deciding for you. That's my mini rant, but unfortunately we're actually gonna make those people happy because we're gonna go the other way today and show the really, really expensive side of things and answer that question of what do you get, if anything, if you crank the price all the way up to like $3,000 on an AR. And that weapon system that'll be showing us what a premium price tag brings us is the Radian Model 1 16-inch variant in Radian Brown. But this rifle's actually been around for a while and was originally about $2,500 and has just slowly creeped up in price ever since COVID and just seems to keep trending upward. But it does have a really unique ADAC feature where you can press the mag release and lock the bolt back that has this huge cult following. I'll show you it all and we'll test it all, but first, let's take a moment to thank today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by HRT Tactical Gear. HRT provides industry-leading team-based products such as the LBAC to give you a load-bearing carrier solution, along with the entire Arc Belt suite to give you the best the tactical world has to offer, from medical to their top-tier mag pouches. HRT also has a badass new belt and plate carrier that they were teasing out at SHOT Show, so make sure to stay tuned as we're going to be reviewing all those here on this channel also. And as always, you can use discount code TLDco over on the HRT Tactical Gear website. Much love to HRT for everything they do for us and helping to support the channel. Now, for this part, I normally hate it with my biases, but it's a little bit more interesting today. I say that because the Model 1 was sent to me on loan from Radian to review, and I have to send it back when I'm done, so I'm kind of treating it like a rental car. We also do have an affiliate with Radian, but we also have an affiliate with a bunch of other companies, so I don't really care if you buy this or you buy something else. So I want you to get whatever you like. So this is an interesting one, as I don't really care, as I do have some positive biases, as in like, you know, purchases help to support the channel, but I also have a pretty negative bias when I look at the price and I go, what the heck is going on here? So as with everything else, don't take anything that I say or any other YouTuber says as gospel. Everyone is biased in some way, even subconsciously. And if someone is saying they're not biased, they're probably selling you something, so remember that. Do your own research so you can be the most educated consumer possible. All right, all that's out of the way, let's start with what the heck the Radian Model 1 even is, so we can at least rationalize some of this cost somehow. The Model 1 is designed around the mantra to use the highest quality raw materials to blend form and function while also adding in ambidextrous controls on both sides, and Radian says no detail goes overlooked and is guaranteed for life. That's what they say anyway. I've kind of learned that righties, you guys just don't give a crap about Ambi, and as a lefty, I can add in most of the Ambi functions that I want for like 20 bucks, or just use like a Griffin Mark II lower that costs like less than half of this. The whole Radian mantra also focuses on, kind of what they say is using the highest quality parts possible. But then when I look at the Model 1, it's got a rebranded Azimuth 9310 BCG. Well, that's fine. It's a fine BCG. It's kind of upper mid tier. It's just not what I consider premium. Like, it's not the top of the line. You can find something better for sure. So it seems a little bit more like marketing and a little bit less like the truth. But tell you what, let's go out in the range, let's test it, do some first shots, and then put it on the table and see what happens when you just throw money at it. All right, we're out here for our first shots on the Model 1. I haven't got to shoot this at all. I've played with it a little bit and kind of learned some of the controls. But that's about it. So let's see what this thing's all about.
more recoil than I expected, but let's test it some more and see what it's all about. One more of those before we get started. Okay, seriously this time, let's go.
Well, that looks optimistic, and starting at the front, we see a standard dead air chemo flash hider muzzle device that comes standard on the rifle. I think in 2018, when that rifle first came out, that was super cool. Like, dead air was definitely owning a lot of the market, and I do have some dead air cans we're gonna put on here and test it out, so it's nice that it has that muzzle device. But here in 2025, I will say that design is getting a little bit dated, particularly with so many other suppressors starting to kind of take over a lot of that silencer space. Now moving down, we have a fairly large aluminum handguard. There is a lot of material here, and due to the design, we only have M-LOK slots in the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions. Unfortunately, there's no ARCA rails along the bottom or any newer quality of life features. The design is fine and it's functional. It just makes for a far more bulky and clunky setup when you go to add in your illuminator and your flashlight, and you only have like the top, side, and bottom rail to connect everything in, which puts it in a weird place instantly, like at the very beginning here, at the first look, because I would put it in mid-tier for being so-so for duty and night vision use. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but the IWI Zion SPR for $1,200 has the CMT rail with slots all around and a full ARCA rail, so I'm certainly expecting more at almost triple the price. The Model 1 rail also isn't monolithic, but does use integrated upper and lower pins for their anti-rotation. Now though, the handguard and entire rifle isn't anodized and instead uses Cerakote. Now that's fine, Cerakote is a good coating, and Joe from our team has Cerakoted a good bit of mine, and I have a lot of them, and there's some of the learning process you can see as we've gone through and learned Cerakote. Because if you don't have the right mix, or you don't prepare the metal the right way using like degreasers and things like that, the Cerakote can be very brittle and actually flake off or just break off pretty easily. One area we noted when prepared incorrectly was the brass deflector. It would wear super fast, so we used better Cerakote and a better process as we went on to remove that issue. And you can see that higher quality Cerakote on all my Aero Builder sets that have seen just a ton of rounds, probably in the thousands. But on the Radian, we have the same novice level problems that Joe and I had. Just from a single range trip, I have a lot of scraping across the handguard, and the brass deflector is now just exposed metal that is going to rust and cause problems over the life of this rifle. I don't want to complain here, but I want to give it perspective. This is a $3,000 rifle, and Joe didn't have this problem with an oven he got it from Lowe's. You can see the other guns that go to the same range don't have that brittle Cerakote, so I am a bit disappointed there. I did add an HRT rail wrap to give some extra grip and protection, and I didn't entirely hate the handguard shape, but it did seem pretty beefy. Moving on to our barrel, we have a 16-inch 416R stainless steel barrel, chambered in 223 Wild. The barrel itself uses a heavy profile, so you're going to notice a significant amount of weight up front that helps with maintaining accuracy over long strings of fire. We'll talk about this in the testing portion, but if you're gonna add in an illuminator, a light on the side, and a suppressor, you are going to have a very, very heavy platform. That weight plus the more legacy style handguard would really have me scratching my head as to why I'd be even using this for a duty application at all. From what I understand also, and you guys correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but the Radian also uses Schillen barrels, which is the same thing that BCM uses. And if you go look at their website, you can pick this barrel up, the one they're using in this whole setup, the match grade one, for about $400. Along the top rail, we have full Picatinny throughout with our Holosun Iris 3 we did a full review on, and I thought that thing did great. Moving back for optics, we have our primary arms plx-c 1:8 Griffin and ACSS Nova top dot combination to work speed and accuracy in our testing. And in the past, these optics have also done great. The upper is billet 7075, but has that brittle Cerakote I mentioned earlier that already concerns me for long-term use. The dust cover is a nice Magpul polymer, and it looks cool, but it would have been nice to see a cooler billet design, particularly at this price point. Moving back, we have our forward assist that is marketed as a lightweight forward assist. I think they could make that forward assist even lighter and just remove it entirely, but hey, that's just me. Looking inside, we have the Radian SD charging handle that uses a vented design to cut gas going to your face through the charging handle. The SD also uses the Ambi latch style that Radian is just absolutely known for. I really do think the Radian SD charging handle is good, but there are a lot of videos out there that have kind of tested performance and have found that the Aero Breach and the Griffin Mark II pretty much perform exactly the same for a whole lot less cost. So that may be a data point for you guys at home also. Plus, you're gonna see the problem for me in particular isn't gas coming through the charging handle. It's the ludicrous amount of gas coming out the ejection port because the entire rifle just isn't tuned very well either. Now, I mentioned this earlier, the bolt carrier group is fine, but it's not like super premium. This is just a rebranded Azimuth 9310 bolt carrier group. Some people would argue that it's a step above Toolcraft. Some people would argue that it's a step below Toolcraft, but either way, no matter how you slice it, it's kind of the upper range of mid-tier. It's a $120 BCG. Woo! I'm being a little bit of a jerk here, but I have far fancier BCGs in far cheaper rifles. I'm just trying to find where the $3,000 is, and it's not really in the Handguard, and it's not really in the upper, so I don't know, maybe it's in the lower. Here at the lower, I think we've found the cult following that makes the Radian so sought after with its fine-tuned billet design and Ambi controls. One of the claims to fame are these great takedown pins, and god dang, these things kind of suck. They're too short and the tolerances are so tight, it's just a bit obnoxious to use. Where's a different one? Okay, so on some other far cheaper rifles, the pins just pop out and they are far easier to use. Like, that is super simple. Put this thing back. Okay, but on the Radian, you have to, like, you push this thing in and you gotta like use your fingernails. You gotta kind of vice it because it's gonna fight you, and you gotta kind of use your fingernails to get it out. And it's just, I don't know. I don't consider that better in any way, shape, or form. It's just a lot more obnoxious. Like, doing that, I'm trying to, I don't love the pins. They're a pain. Now, I did like the Radian Talon safety as it's nice and tactile, but I will say the short side it's pretty useless and probably could just be removed, as I had trouble even activating the safety using that side of the switch. Now, I think it's fair to start asking this question. Like, is it good? Yeah. Is it the best? No. Now let's get into the Ambi function. This is pretty cool. So let's start on the right side, and this uses the ADAC, or ambidextrous dual action right side bolt hold open. God, that's a lot. That means there are internal mechanisms so that when you press the magazine release, it'll also hold open your bolt catch, allowing you to quickly fix double feeds or other malfunctions. The top ping pong paddle then acts as a bolt release. I think this is something, like, I've really found there's two groups of people. Like, they really love this, or they just don't care at all. As a lefty, I don't care, because on the left side, I can already hit both of those buttons even with one finger if I really tried to. So I don't really care about this feature. Now, focusing on the left side, the lower is done well and gives you an enlarged paddle that's easy to drop the bolt, and it moves the bolt catch and magazine release out of line from one another, so you can't just slip off and drop your mag. The left side apparently also does the ADAC thing, but I've never used it. I'm also slightly concerned about dirt and debris getting in this linkage system, and I don't know, maybe it's fine, but less moving parts is generally a better idea. I'd say the ADAC feature, if I looked at it in terms of complicated things and like unique features, is probably where I would say it's the most expensive part. And yeah, even for me, I would say, like, yeah, this lower is really pretty nice. Now, is it $600 nice? No. And on top of that, the ADAC functionality can be added in for like $30 with a ready catch. Now, that's not nearly as clean, but if this fails, you'd still be able to work the rifle. Moving to the magwell, I actually really like this. It's nice and flared and gave me really easy reloads. Moving to the trigger next, well, I don't know, the trigger kind of sucks, Because if we look at the manual on the website, this used to be an ALG Gold trigger, but this one is the newer Radian Vertex trigger, which I'm about 99% sure is just a basic entry-level Timney impact trigger with a different blade. Like I'm quite certain here. The blade is nice though, and the Vertex does have a clean, crisp break and very little creep. But then on the reset, there's an audible click, but there's no real tactile feel to it at all. It makes for an odd, disconnected feeling as the rifle really isn't giving you any feedback. We'll test it when we go out to do speed. I'll give you some obvious foreshadowing. It's much more difficult to get in rhythm with your rifle when it's not even giving you the same feedback of, what a mil-spec trigger would. But moving to furniture, we see a Magpul K2 grip and a CTR stock. We also have a QD on the end plate that I don't think anybody uses. Again, the furniture is good. It's just not great. I mean, I have a whole bunch of my budget builds that also have CTRs on them. There's just so much other new hardware that's out there, like the new DT or the PRDT, that would be really nice to see on a premium weapon system. And the idea that I would have to replace the outdated furniture on my $3,000 rifle, well, yeah, that would really chap my ass. But that's the whole rifle, and I don't know if we found where all the money went into, but maybe it's in performance, so let's do some tests. And the first one we're gonna do is weight. Here I have everything loaded up, and in this configuration, it's about 9 pounds, 8 ounces, and with the suppressor, it's about 10 pounds, 8 ounces. If you go on the Radian website, it also lists like the bare naked weight as 6 to 8 pounds. So that added cost definitely did not go into weight savings. We don't even have a light on our setup, and we're missing some other small bits and bobs, which means our weapon system would probably weigh somewhere near 11 pounds, which isn't all that great when you have AR-10 weight with like an AR-15 system. But okay, the money wasn't spent on weight savings, so what about reliability? Let's take a look at that next. I will say the Radian Model 1 did shine here. I fed this thing total garbage and premium ammo, and it ate it all without a problem. It even did perfectly fine with even some of the more challenging plastic case ammo. I do think tuning down the whole gas system to a more respectable level that it should be at will impact some of that reliability, but that's a good segue also as we go into the next test of overall shooting feel and recoil. I think I forgot to mention this, but the Radian uses the heavy H2 buffer to control gas and slow down shooting, and boy, you can feel it. Combined with the gas system that seems to lack much overall refinement, the whole system is not that pleasant to shoot and results in a lot of recoil in what should be an easy to control system. Here in comparison is my 6mm arc setup that is far, far softer to shoot. It's just confusing because we're seeing like a duty grade gas system and duty grade buffer weights, but then I think it's supposed to be a competition barrel, more competition focus. It's just getting very confusing, and it's making an overall mess of things as to what I'm doing and what it's supposed to be focused towards. I even threw on a suppressor to see how it does, and even with the high flow of the dead air e-brake, this made for a gassy mess. And it just wasn't a well-refined system in what I think is the intended final configuration.
Ooh, that's super gassy. That is not fantastic.
And in the end, yeah, it is super reliable. I'm gonna give it that hands down. But is it more fun to shoot, right? Is it more fun to shoot than just less expensive rifles? No, it's not. I think I'm making all the fanboys mad at this point, but here you go. This one's for you. The next test is controls, and I think this one is what the Radian's all about. And testing the manual of arms, I really did like this. The left side controls were easy to get to and allows me to swap between mags, clear jams, and work malfunctions. This was the first test that gave me that, okay, all right, I get it. This thing is pretty sweet moment. Now, we have to take a moment. Quick caveat, because I actually do like the Griffin Mark II Ambi lower a little bit better, because there's a little shelf on the left side when you do the left side mag release so you can feel exactly where your finger's gonna be. And that one is like 1/3 the cost. So again, Are the controls good? Absolutely 100%. Are they the best? No. Now, I did flip this over to the right side too, and it was easy to manipulate with the ADAC system, but I think I was continually getting confused on why my mag was falling out when I was trying to lock the bolt back. Whatever, you right-handed people could deal with that mess. The left side isn't all weird. Now, for the next test, we're gonna do the mag drop test. I was gonna remove this, but on the last test, it actually was very useful, so I kept it. But yeah, all the mags drop freely from metal to polymer, and I'll even say that I think due to the ADAC system, I think the mags dropped the cleanest from any platform we've ever tested. Nothing got bound up. It was really pretty wonderful. So maybe the magwell is where you're spending that $3,000. I'll tell you what it's not spent on is the next test, which is the trigger, and this thing, I don't know, it's just not great. As I thought, the lack of a solid reset means it's very difficult to get a good rhythm with this Vertex trigger, plus it has a bit of a longer reset. It's just a mid-tier trigger in a very expensive platform, and I wish there was something better here to justify the cost. For $250, you can get an insane trigger from Rise like the 535 or like the Elf Apex. That thing is completely bonkers and does crazy stuff for exactly the same price. And we keep coming back here. Is the trigger good? Yes, it's good. It's mid, it's middle ground. Is it great? No. I feel like we're starting to slowly build a theme here. Now, the next test is accuracy. And you know, this is where a $3,000 rifle will truly shine, right? Like that's where all the money goes into, right? I mean, I would have thought so, but we loaded up our normal S&B 77 grain that we always used, and maybe it just didn't love this ammo, but I got an initial 5-round group of about 1.5 MOA. I mean, that's not that bad. Doing a faster 3-shot group, I got about 2 MOA with that one flyer there. And shooting some 69 grain velocity ammo, I got like, what is that, 5 MOA? So I'm gonna chalk that group up to, don't shoot that ammo. Now, I really don't think that accuracy, like 1.5 MOA, is bad at all. In fact, I think it's pretty good. Like I would say that's a pretty solid accuracy. And it's exactly what I would expect from a $400 barrel. It's just not what I would expect out of a $3,000 gun. And I'm sure some better shooters can get better results. Like even Huntfish Shoot, he said he was getting sub MOA. But for me and my testing, the results were exactly in line with BCM, who uses the same barrel, and it's exactly the results and kind of MOA specifications that I would expect. So is the accuracy good? Yeah, accuracy is pretty good. Is the accuracy great? No. But okay, the whole thing does look pretty awesome. So let's do the next test of cool factor. I'll be honest, I think this is what sells Radian rifles. It just looks awesome. From the clean lines to the slick looking controls, this is the type of rifle that pops out on camera and just gives you that wow factor. I just wish the performance gave that same wow factor as the look when its performance is kind of more in line with other weapon systems that are like half the cost. But now we got to get into the last super nasty category, comparative market. And oof, here I don't get it. The Model 1 is competing price-wise with Knights and LMT, but offering a tier of parts and performance that gives worse results than our IWI Zion SPR. The price makes no sense. And when you even price this setup out using Radian's own builder set, things just don't add up. Like for me, I even priced it out. I did like a dead air muzzle device, a Schillen barrel, an Asmus BCG, Timney impact trigger, and then did some basic furniture. And I was short about $2,000 for the handguard upper and lower. Comparative market-wise, there is just no nice way to say it. And fanboys, oh, they're gonna get super mad at this one, but I'm gonna be super generous. The Radian Model 1 is the best $2,000 rifle you can buy for the $3,100. Now, there is this huge cult following and this huge waiting list, so maybe that's why Radian can justify the cost. But let's move into the last one with my final thoughts and rankings on this rifle. The Radian Model 1 just, you have to say, it just looks cool and touts a premium price tag for that look. But under the hood, we see a lot of corners cuts to maximize profits while giving you a lower grade Cerakote finish and lower grade components that result in a performance that does not match the top tier price tag. I initially placed the Model 1 in A tier for its features and well-machined parts, but I knocked it down a peg to B tier for a price that just makes absolutely no sense. I mean, here's the bottom line. Here's the brass facts of it all. Is it a good rifle? Yes, I think it is fantastic. Is it $3,000 good? No, it's not. And spending some time with the Model 1, I would be very confused on how I would use this. It doesn't do precision particularly well. It doesn't do duty and night vision very well at all. I'd have to configure it in a very unique way, or it'd be super bulky, and it'd be a ton of weight. In reality, the Model 1 would probably go on a shelf somewhere just to be cool and look at, because its main feature is that it's the most expensive, because all the other rifles perform better. Now, I'm sure I have pissed off a lot of people, as there is a huge fan base for this rifle. And if you want to see more content on the Model 1, let me know. I have a little bit of time before I have to return it. I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the comments that are going to be like, oh, you're not using it right. Me, though, I want to pit this thing head to head with the $1,200 IWI Zion SPR to see if price or performance is truly king. I know my answer to that question, but you guys let me know down in the comments if you guys want to see that battle. But I hope this review of the Radian Model 1 was helpful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon and YouTube members. You make it possible we can go out and test all this stuff, see what's worth your money, and see what may be the best buy for you, or maybe there's something else that's better. And I want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below if you think I did something wrong on this Model 1 review and I need to do it again, or if you think there's another rifle that you think could beat this. I want to test it. We're going to find out. All right, everyone, Walsh out. And I hate that it comes down to cost, but it really, really does, right? There is a kooky conversation that the Geissele Super Duty, which has, I don't love Geissele, has arguably one of the top 3 triggers, probably has the best handguard, just an overall fantastic system. Not even one that I want, but I have to admit that it's fantastic, is $1,000 less than this. So that's where I start to get confused as to why you do. I maybe because of the lower, like people are in love with this ADAC system. It's great. The lower is great. And I think there's people, if you just got the lower, okay, yeah, I'm not going to frown on you for that. Like just getting the lower, cool. But the rest of it, it confuses me greatly. It's just hard for me to recommend that when there are so many other great offerings. And I think the fanboys are going to get mad today, but they're going to get super mad if I even dare to put it against the Zion SPR, because I know that thing shoots half MOA, 3/4 MOA every day of the week. So yeah, all right, next stuff we got, I teased a little bit here, Bull Blaze. We're going to be doing a bunch of competition content, all kinds of stuff.